Okay, no objections. Then the first order of business, of course, is going to hear the report from Chris with regard to the annual financial report and the missionary report. Let me see if I can get that up. Go away. There we go. Make this big. Yep. And then I'll turn it on and get it hooked up. Boop. Wow, I got beat. I meant to have it on and just muted, but okay. Oh, come on in a second. Excuse me.
The financial report first. Here's our balance sheet. Offerings this year were $14,048. We had interest of $15.08. So total income $14,003.08. And so miscellaneous expense was $15,689.82. So we had a negative retained earnings this year of $1,626.74. So our total retained offerings, retained offerings for Grace Fellowship Bible Church is $48,063.46. So if you look at our different checking accounts,
if you could roll it up just a little bit, Chris.
Okay.
Just okay.
There we go.
That's good.
So our assets on the checking accounts, our savings and our high yield savings total $48,063.46, and so our total liabilities and equities are $48,063.46. So our balance sheet balance.
That's always a good thing.
Then a missionary report this year. Ralph and Cindy LaRosa are missionaries in the Philippines. They've been there since 1975 and began their present ministry at that time. This past September marked their 40th anniversary. Their ministry is centered in Lucena City in the island of Luzon. Ralph continues to evangelize unbelievers, teach sound doctrine to believers, and train and equip pastors and launch local churches with the objective of helping them to become self-sustaining. When they arrived in the Philippines, there was, keep this in perspective, what our world is like, right? And what we have to deal with in America, and the dust storms and the things that we have to deal with here in Arizona, right? So in the Philippines, they were under martial law, or it had just been lifted. And over the past 40 years, there's been 6 presidents, numerous coup attempts, one economic crisis after another, record-breaking super typhoons, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and terrorist attacks. Through God's grace, Ralph and Cindy have been protected. And there continues to be a large group of growing believers and many opportunities for evangelism there. So please pray for Ralph and Cindy's safety and their continued logistical support. And then Glen Haven Ministries in Conway, Arkansas now. In 2015, Glen Haven transitioned from operating a youth ranch in Plainsview, Arkansas, to being a multifaceted youth services organization in Conway, Arkansas. They've reduced their paid staff from 27 to 8, and they're now working with other churches and organizations and volunteers. This move will enable them to be able to work with more families. They anticipate being able to acquire their own property in Conway in the next year. 4 out of 10 children in this generation now grew up without a father in the home. Glen Haven's purpose is to help support the troubled youth escape state foster care and to live with families where they can receive the gospel and God's word, and ultimately transition back to their home and their own families. Along with, once again, setting up their resident program, they will also be working with volunteers who are willing to take troubled youth into their own homes. Please pray for their proper function and wisdom for their staff and for their volunteers. Also pray that their 19 buildings and 150-acre property in Plainview will sell quickly, as this will provide them the much-needed financial support that they need. And that concludes our missionary report. So, if you have any questions, you can certainly ask me at the break. Thank you. I'll post this over there as well.
Okay, thank you, Chris. And with regard to our electronic ministry, do you have some comments you would like to make?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of good and bad, but I'm going to be a snowbird. I'm leaving, but I'm not leaving. So somebody really does have to figure out how to do this besides me.
Okay.
I mean, really, I just have to spend more time in California with my son. I'm going to try to spend the summers not in Arizona.
Okay.
So, I mean, other than that, not really. It's going.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Okay, so we've been having some situations associated with the connectivity. Where we've got the best connectivity that we can right now. Okay, we'll be looking into improving that a little bit. Also, we started off some activity this past summer to look at some other activities associated with not only the electronics and getting a better electronic presence on the internet, but also being able to get us out there a little bit more so we can start looking, for a larger building as we grow, and then also to make sure that we grow. so you'll be hearing more about that as the year progresses. I was hoping to have something ready for this meeting, but I didn't have that. But we will continue to go forward with that. Okay, so that's where we are with regard to our deacons. The other thing relative to the missionary. Gary Horton is coming to Westside Bible Church, and he will be at Westside on the 21st of February. Larry has invited us to go over there and see him, okay, and interact with him. The 21st, however, is a Sunday. So I need to get the time from Larry, because Larry certainly needs to understand that we can't give up our teaching to go over and see him. Ooh, ow. I got a pin. So anyway, I'll try and find that. I'll try and find out where Gary is also going to be, so we can pray for Gary as he goes in. He's got 2 schools that he is going to be able to get into and be able to evangelize, and then he will be presenting some information over at Westside. Okay, so we wanted to keep you up to date on that. Part of the congregational meeting is to set us up for the tax situation. Should I ever, as you know, I don't take wages from here, but should I ever start looking to take wages from here? We have a precedent set that allows the pastor to get the maximum tax break possible, and that's associated with having a parsonage. A pastor under law is allowed to have a parsonage and a parsonage allowance. Okay, but it has to be designated at the first part of the year every year. Okay, and so the resolution always starts off and it says, "Resolve that of the total monetary provision for the pastor for the year 2016, that would be this year, the first $30,000 is hereby designated as parsonage allowance. Furthermore, this church will reimburse the pastor for all automobile," so the other things that are provided under law, automobile, library, office, and entertainment expenses considered ordinary and necessary for him to carry out his duties. The way we've always done that in the past is for these particular functions, the pastor, that would be me, okay, again, I don't do this, but there's potential that someday I might, okay, would actually pay for these and then get reimbursed. So it's reimbursement is the way the law is written, as opposed to being paid for it. There's a big tax difference if I were to get paid for the automobile or the library, and then I would buy something for the library like software myself. That would be taxable, versus having this resolution which says that if I pay for it myself and then get reimbursed, then that's not taxable. So the idea here is this resolution. Furthermore, this church will reimburse the pastor for all automobile, library, office, and entertainment expenses, considered ordinary and necessary for him to carry out his duties. It will also, when circumstances warrant, directly provide office equipment used in the performance of his duties. In addition, the church will reimburse the cost of up to $50,000 worth of term life insurance on the pastor, and will pay the cost of health insurance. This church will also reimburse the pastor for all expenses incurred by him on behalf of the church. It is further understood that a person other than the pastor will examine the adequately accounted records, and that the records will be kept for at least 4 years by the employing body. That's the church. In order to adopt this, we need to have a motion and a second from the church. Do I have a motion? Okay. We've got Charlie making the motion and Thomas making the second. So the motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? Get out. Okay, let the record show that the resolution was adopted. Okay. Also, I'd like to remind people that we've been updating the doctrinal statement. The doctrinal statement should be available over there, although that one looks like an older one, so I'll take it upon myself to replace it with a new one. Okay, so we have the doctrinal statement available. We will have a prayer list available, and then also any special church policies that we have are over here, but they again also need to be updated. So that's another activity that we're actually undertaking in reorganizing the way that the church is going to be run. Okay. So, is there any more? I don't know. I'm so used to my iPad. I'm trying to move the screen on my computer. Okay. Is there any other new business or discussion of any type or any comments at this time? No? Okay. Well, in that case, then any motion to adjourn? Melissa? Okay, made the motion to adjourn. Seconded by Nadine. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, we are adjourned, and the time for adjournment is 11:35. Okay, I'll give you another 5 minutes or so to grab another piece of cake and some coffee, and we'll get back together at 20 till.
So I just sat there and I was talking about it, and then they were doing their thing. I didn't let them notice it was already canceled. I just sat there for 8 minutes until the friend was like, "Oh, you guys go watch it?" That's great. I'll be.
And only teaching first grade class this week. It's pretty embarrassing. And so I was like getting super frustrated. And someone was like, I think he's getting mad. I'm like, you're right. I'm feeling terrible right now.
Okay, let's go ahead and get back to work. Okay, we're going to take our no